Well, to get started, I'll first introduce myself for those that don't know. My name is William Amaral. I am the Senior Customer Success Manager here at Labster. And I have been with Labster for just over 3.5 years. Born and raised in Massachusetts, but recently moved down to Raleigh, North Carolina with my wife, daughter, and two dogs. And what brought me here to the company is that I've always loved science, and I've always wanted the opportunity to help people at scale. And this is a great way to do that. But Andrew, could you introduce yourself for everyone?
Yeah, my name's Andrew Thorne. I am a vice president for distance education at Toccoa Falls College. Also originally from up north, and then moved down south. I'm originally from New Jersey, and then moved down to Georgia, at Toccoa Falls College. I was a student here, from 2010 to 2014. And then I did my master's work somewhere else, and then I started working here in 2014 and until now. So about 10 years here.
Fantastic. Thank you. So to just jump in, get started, could you tell us a little bit about your full role at Toccoa Falls?
Yeah, so distance education for us includes our online undergraduate degrees, our graduate admissions, and our dual enrollment student population. Out of TFCs, we have about 3,000 students overall, as a campus, but we do have about 2,400 of those 3,000 are involved in our distance education programs. So between online, graduate, and dual enrolled, that makes up about, uh, well, 2,400 out of 3,000.
Uh, I love that. I can appreciate that for somebody who came from distant education background. That's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal statistic too, because it's the majority of your population. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the state of Georgia, which is where we're located, had a change in dual enrollment legislation. And that change restricted what courses they would fund for dual enrollment, and also required institutions at the time to be responsible for textbooks for our students. And that change impacted us a great deal and really had us kind of, that was the prompting and the push that we needed for some changes in how we did things online. Um, so immediately after that legislation came out, we were thinking, what do we need to do here? Because the reality is we were spending in that first year after the legislation change about 300 to 500,000 on student textbooks just for our dual enrollment student population. So we wanted to find some alternative options. And we looked into open educational resources pretty heavily. And then, that's when we first started using OpenStax for a lot of classes, but also some other OER materials that exist. So most of our undergraduate courses right now, especially on the 100 to 200 level, are using open educational resources now.
fantastic. What kind of challenges or opportunities have you seen working with your student demographic?
Yeah, let's see. I'd say the main challenge right now is just that it doesn't take much for a student or a student's parent, or a high school administrator that we work with to be a barrier. So we're really looking for all possible ways to get around those barriers. Like there are certainly things that like just absolutely have to happen, right? There are certain contact hours for a course that have to be met. There are certain qualifications a professor needs to be able to teach a course. There's the musts in what we do. Um, but there's also other things that maybe we need to rethink. So maybe like this for OER specifically, maybe we need to reframe the mindset that like expensive is better. Like if an expensive textbook exists, that must mean it's better than the one that is free. And, that in working with a lot of faculty over the years, that's kind of an upfront thought. Then it's like, okay, well, let's just look at the text and see if it's better or worse. And then, we found a lot of the times that they equated. Um, and if two things were equal, then let's go with the one that's better for the students, better for us, and then that way we can just get the the open educational resources built into our classes. As soon as the student logs in, it's right in front of them. There's no shipping delays. There's no process of ordering anything. It's there.
Mhm.
Um, which obviously with Labster, same thing could be said. Uh, so we purchase Labster for our students. So we don't our students don't have any costs. Degree seeking students, dual enrolled students, our pre-nursing students, all of our students that are using it have no cost. So we purchase all the licenses up front. They go into, say, a biology 1 class, and it's just there. There's no confusion and hurdles and hidden costs or anything. So it's a really nice thing to be able to just give it to our students and then them have it. So just avoiding all hurdles, really. Yeah.
How have faculty overall responded to integrating Labster into their courses? And have there been any challenges or maybe even surprises?
So our professors by and large are really happy that all the students have all the material on day one. That's been a really nice thing. Um, and then recently we decided to develop anatomy and physiology online as well. And we've seen the professor that's developing that course really happy with Labster's resources also. Um, Especially with the connection with OpenStax specifically, because they're developing this course for the first time online for us in Moodle and
Mhm.
able to just plug in right away the OpenStax resources and the Labster resources. So it's not starting at ground zero to be able to just develop this course. There's a lot of resources already available when putting it together.
Right.
But there is a piece to that that I no, I gotta brag on a little bit.
Brag away.
So since the legislation change in Georgia, the most recent report from the Georgia Student Finance Commission showed that dual enrollment in Georgia was down 9% since that legislation came out. Uh, it has gone up the last 2 years of that report, but since 2020, overall, down a total of 9%.
Mhm.
And since that time, for Toccoa Falls College, we're up 140% in our dual enrollment population. Uh, so we're really satisfied with the decisions we made right away, seeing where like what we needed to do to adjust.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add about your experience with Labster or any other initiatives at Toccoa Falls?
Yeah, one more thing with Lobster that I realized that I didn't mention, but we really appreciate is just the analytics side. Um, Different than a physical lab kit, you can see, the time each student has spent involved in using like being interactive. So we can see how much time they're actually spending on a lab if they're reaching out to the professor and said, I didn't get it, but you only spent 1 minute on it. Like we know where the start point is rather than if we spent an hour on it and I'm not getting it, right? We can learn from that and approach the conversation differently. So the analytics side is really helpful. And let's see, new initiatives going on at TFC. Recently added education programs online at a pretty affordable cost in Georgia. So really trying to help out the teacher shortage that Georgia's seeing right now. I think we're like 3,000 classrooms in Georgia without certified teachers. So we're trying to do something to solve that. So we launched those programs this past fall, and they're seeing some growth already, but would love to continue growing them.
Nice. That is a staggering statistic.
Tough time, but we're trying to help out wherever we can, and just seeing if there's demand and barriers, trying to supply for where the demand is and also break down the barriers. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Andrew, I greatly appreciate this time with you. I love talking to you. It's like you said, it's a good win-win relationship. And
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you for your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time as well. Always love talking with you and always love working with you.
Awesome. Have a great one.
All right, you too.